Hello, everybody, and welcome to the drive-thru. I'm your host, Tony T. For the hour, we're going to deliver a bunch of picks from our top handicappers here on our site, Pig Dogs, as well as Sports Chat Plays. I'm going to give you a peek of all the cappers that you'll hear and get some plays from today, and we'll get to them in just a second. And, of course, we're on every single day, Monday through Friday, daily show at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pig Dogs and Sports Chat Plays YouTube channel. But I'd like to welcome our co-hosts to our show this evening, Dana Lane and Joe D'Amico. Dana, how are things going? How's the mood in Vegas as we're getting closer and closer to the start of NFL?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I mean, we've said this numerous times on the show that I was a little bit it was difficult for me to get into football or even grasp that it was here. But when I walk out my house now and it's 15 degrees cooler than normal in Las Vegas, it's 85. It's below 80 today. I mean, for the first time, I felt like football was coming. So I'm very excited for the local the Raiders this week as they'll start on the road against Carolina. And, of course, personally, I'm happy about Notre Dame, and I can't wait to see the Cowboys play. So it's starting to feel better here in Vegas as well.
Joe, how does sportsbooks feel about the upcoming season?
Well, they're very excited about it. I think people in general are excited about it. Whenever people throughout the country are excited about it, obviously it's going to extrapolate even more in Vegas. We are very excited for the start of the NFL and the college football season. I mean, to be honest with you, 100 sports bettors in a room, all 100 will bet football. A little less bet basketball, a little less bet baseball, a little less bet hockey. But we are very excited here in Vegas. The mood is great. I'm excited to be on the Pick Dogs show today. I got my Joe D'Amico Pick Dogs hat right now. All right, guys, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, but we are going to have a great day today and a great show.
Yes, we are. A great show today. We have a lot of picks ready to deliver here on the Pick Dogs, our drive-through show. We're going to go ahead and get started because we have a game starting at the bottom of the hour. It's the Yankees with Garcia against Toronto York here, and Dana will be leading us off here with the picks. We're seeing here right now the Yankees about $1.50 favorite. Total sits at 10, but the Yankees some struggles here. I think I checked today, and they were losers of 15 of 20.
Yeah, I think in relation to Joe and that fantastic hat of yours, I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't have any Pick Dog swag, but we'll work on that, I guess. And I mean, we went against went against the Yankees last night. Just didn't like the feel of this team. But today, I kind of feel a little bit different about that. It looks like this is a good spot to back a desperate Yankee team, and not that they haven't been desperate. But when Garcia's on the mound, a kid that Toronto hasn't faced very much, he's a kid that spent 5 years in the minor leagues, and we look a lot at like minor league statistics. Over 304 and a third innings in the minor leagues. He has 428 strikeouts. He has exceptional stuff. I was talking to a guy today that says he's the best Yankee arm that he has seen in a very, very long time. A guy that, he's got a foot in Scranton, so he knows what comes through the AAA level. He has not only done it at the AAA level, but he's done it at every single level, including the major leagues, where he has more strikeouts than innings pitched. So I think this is going to be his best start. He was really good against the Mets in his first start, not so good against Baltimore, but that's what you expect out of a young kid. And as far as Roark is concerned, the opposition's hit 317 against them this year. This feels like a good spot for the Yankees. We're not void of talent. We're not talking about a Pirates organization that's spinning out of control, or other teams that really just don't have a lot to throw out there. This is a good team. They've shown last year they can get through injuries. They got a great system. They're just kind of in a funk right now. If you laid a -1.5 today, you're getting plus money back, and that's the way I'm going to go tonight.
Joe, bookmakers always like to go against the Yankees. They get a lot of action out there. But how about this season? Is the bookmakers on the side of the Yankees as they've been struggling?
Well, the Yankees are always going to be a fan favorite. And just to be honest with you, when not in a quarantine or a health crisis, the Yankees are the most beloved and also the most hated team in the world. But it's funny, every time they go on the road, wherever they go, those stadiums sell out more than normal. So people either love the Yankees or they love to hate the Yankees. Obviously, when they're winning, you're going to get the fan favorites. They're always going to be a fan favorite. But then again, when they're losing, the haters are going to come out. They're looking to ride against their on their losing streak. I will tell you that, I think Dana's got a great point, and he's always got a great point. But once again, today he's got a great point. But the Yankees have to turn it around pretty soon. I mean, as much or as worse than anybody, they got a lot of people on that injured list. But there's still a lot of fight left in that dog. But here in Vegas, if you bet the Yankees every day, you're going to lose because you just can't lay 250 or higher and win. I mean, the teams like the Yankees, the teams like some of the other teams, the Dodgers, that are perennial, that are every day, daily over $2, normally over $2.50, sometimes $3 favorites. You can't bet those teams on a daily basis. You can pick and choose here and there, but really, you're better off picking a team that's going to be a dog all year round and betting them against. And hopefully, like Dana and I talk every once in a while, hope they win 60, 70, 80 games. You'll make a lot more money than if you ride a team like the Yankees. But the Yankees, as you mentioned, I mean, they're a popular team. People like to bet them. Right now, I'm sure there's people out there, smart bettors, that are betting against them. They're sliding.
Absolutely. Here on the drive-thru, Tony T with Dana Lane and Joe D'Amico. Many more free picks coming in the show. And, of course, joined by Dana Lane. Dana, number one documented handicapper over at Pick Dogs Major League Baseball. Number one overall. Why don't you let everybody know what you got going right now at Pick Dogs as you are sitting top of the leaderboards?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into that, believe me, and I am proud of that. It is nice to see your name on top, but now you got to stay there, and we're also going to work just as hard to get there, and we're going to work just as hard to stay there. But we got 3 games going tonight on Pick Dog. We have the Padres game, the Pirates, White Sox will be up there, and the Mets Orioles game is up there as well. So get on board with those 3 games, number one in baseball, number one overall, and working hard to make sure we stay there.
That's right, guys. So check out Dana Lane over at Pick Dogs Premium. Pick up one of his packages. We're getting into the football sports now, and baseball's in run. We're getting into the nitty-gritty in the NBA. So pick them up right now over at Pick Dogs with Dana Lane. All right, guys, as we continue here on the Drive-Thru Show, just like to get your thoughts on the NBA playoffs that we saw last night with the Lakers, that big defensive effort in that fourth quarter. They win and cover. And, of course, it was Miami moving on to the East Final, Dana. So we've got Miami going to get some more rest here as they move into the East Finals.
Yeah, I mean, the public was all over both sides last night. I mean, they were on the Miami Heat, and rightfully so. I mean, without Giannis, I mean, we said it. There just was no hope for Milwaukee. I mean, they had a nice run. Chris Middleton was great the game before, but this was not a guy that you were going to lean on to carry you through this series. And unfortunately for him, he probably had one of his worst games of the series, and that was it for Milwaukee. But good effort out of the Bucks. Really good first quarter. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't play hard. I mean, they certainly did. They didn't cash it or mail it in, but they just didn't have anybody to lean on, and Chris Middleton decided to have one of his worst games. The guy that would be as close to somebody that you can lean on for them, but bad game for him. 8 of 25 shooting, and lights out for Milwaukee. We'll see you next year.
That's right, and of course, Joe, it's a Laker town out there in Las Vegas. Lakers win and cover is usually a bad day for the books. Yeah,
they were all over the Lakers yesterday. Well, quite a few of the books and quite a few of the players that I know are on the Lakers. When the Lakers are in, whenever the Lakers are playing, especially when they're on TV all the time, they're going to play them. You're going to get a lot of action on them. This is a Laker town because we're right next to California. A large portion of the people that come here to visit, let alone come here to visit and gamble, are from the LA area. And you're going to get action on them. This is a team. You got 2 big guys that are playing exceptionally well. They're always playing well, in James and the 2 big guys. But I will Davis. Tell you, in Davis, even I, my Hooked on Phonics books haven't arrived in the mail yet, so bear with me today. No, it's been a long day. In James and Davis, but I will tell you, I think they're gonna have their work cut out for them. And just talking about that, Dana, I think, and Tony, I think that Miami is a team you really have to watch out for now, because really nobody gave them the shot at all in this postseason. They just ousted the odds-on favorite team coming out of the East. And I'll tell you what, I think the fact that they don't have a ton of pressure on them because a lot of people didn't feel they would get this far makes them very dangerous at this point. So I watch out for Miami in the East right now. I really would.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Joe D. Whoever they pick up, it looks like right now could be Celtics and Heat. That would be a really good series here with the Miami Shooters. But Dana, as Miami moves on, if it's Toronto or Boston, if you're Miami Shooters, maybe you want Toronto because the way the Boston Celtics are defending right now, it's going to be tough to get shots, get open looks against them.
There's no doubt that you want Toronto for sure. And the one thing about it now is you have to, factor in the rest factor. I mean, it's. This is when you really watch press conferences and you watch how teams prepare for the next round and, which team can, we've seen it in game one. In every sport, which team can mentally turn it around from what they just experienced and apply it to the next round. And in Miami's case, when you just get through beating the number one seed, are you focused in game one? Are you going to be present in game one? That remains to be seen. But in every series, guys, I've said this 100 times, game two is the biggest game for both teams. It is the game after each team makes an adjustment. So game one, no matter who they face, don't put too much into that headed into game two. In fact, maybe look the other way.
All right, here on the drive-thru, Devin Smith commenting Celtics all the way. I can't argue that. Here on the drive-thru, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time here on the Big Dogs and Sports Chat Place YouTube channel. More picks coming, and let's kick the ball rolling. Joe D'Amico's on deck, and now he's ready to go. Joe, you're going to take a look here at this Rockies and Padres game. Last night was a laugher. How do you see this one tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Sports fans and Tony, Dana, guys. Right now, my free picks right here on the Pick Dog Show, 5-1 the last 6 shows. I'm going to continue to get you paid tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the NL West matchup between the Rockies and Padres. Folks, these two teams have played each other tough in 2020. The first series, Colorado took 2-1. Second series, San Diego took 3-2. And in the third series this week, we saw in the opener, the Padres blanked the Rockies 1-0. And last night, they shellacked them, 14-5. Very quietly, guys, the Padres offense is one of the best in the NFL. First in scoring, second in team batting average, first in OPS, first in home runs, second in stolen bases. Not only are they putting the ball out of the park, but when they're hitting the ball on the ground, they're getting to first base, they're stealing bases. Right now, no pitcher wants to face this lineup. By the way, they're averaging over 5.75 runs a game. Speaking of pitchers, Colorado sent Antonio Senzatella to the bump. He's pitching well, 3-1 with a 3.33. The team has split his 2 starts against the Padres this season. Let's go flip side. On the hill for San Diego, Zach Davies, and that's Zach with a CH. Joke. He's 6-2 with a 2.23, a bit more power here. 42 Ks, 48.1 innings pitched. The team has split his 2 starts against the Rockies this year. Now, I've said it before, and I will say it again. Baseball is streaky, folks. San Diego is hot. Colorado is tepid at best. Oh, by the way, the Rockies, their bullpen has been garbage, and overall, their pitching staff ranks 29th. Team ERA of 5.66. Let me throw some stats at you, some numbers. Colorado, 3-13 the last 16 versus teams with a winning record. 19-40 the last 59 on the road, and 8-17 the last 25 overall. San Diego, 7-0 the last 7 versus right-handed starters. 9-2 the last 11 at home. 4-0 the last 4 versus the NL West. Now, here's a perfect example of how quirky and kooky this season is. I looked at this game this morning, saw an overnight line of $1.25. Then when I wrote it up for the show later on this morning, 10, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, it's $1.40-ish. I had some other commitments. I had to go do some other things. Now I come back, I see the line's about $1.60. This is normally a bit higher than what I like to play, let alone give out. But I go home with the one that bugged me. I liked him this morning. I still like him this afternoon. And, guys, a win is a win is a win. Play the Padres. It'll get you the money. I'm not worried about the line here because you don't have to pay juice on a winner.
All right, Joe D'Amico come in here with the San Diego Padres. And Dana, this Padres team, they can hit homers. Last check, they were the tops in the league in homers. They score a lot of runs. And, of course, Zach Davies comes to San Diego, pitches a little bit more confidence, and has produced some good results.
Yeah, this is one of my games up on the website, and Joe makes a absolutely compelling argument for the Padres, and it's hard to go against that. I mean, like you mentioned, Zach Davies is probably the reason why the Padres are 27-17. They appear to be headed towards at least a 4 seed in the postseason. There's a lot of factors involved in my selection tonight. For Colorado, hey, look, it's as simple as this. Charlie Blackmon early in the year when they were rolling and people were talking about them as one of the surprise teams in baseball, was hitting close to 400. He's in a huge slump right now. You take him out of the lineup, and it's very difficult to find in that lineup not only who's going to hit, but protection for the guys that you might think are going to hit. And when Blackmon's out, so are the Rockies. We got lucky with the Rockies at a couple times this weekend against the Dodgers on the run line, but I'm going to make sure we get some plus money in this case. But go to the website to get my official selection on this.
All right, Dana Lane, I'm joined by Joe Meikle here on the drive-thru. Joe, I know we're looking over at Pick Dogs, and you've got a premium package up there. What can they find over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Absolutely, Tony. Sports fans, tonight we just don't get paid. We get rich. I have one big play, my NBA best bet play. It sounds like just what it is, the best bet on the board today. Go over to Pick Dogs, get my NBA best bet for a $25 investment. Speaking of investments, I got some that you're not just going to get rich, you're going to get dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking rich, guys. My football is upon us. I have more football handicapping championships than the Celtics have rings. I have more top 10 finishes in football than the Yankees have rings. Over at Pick Dogs, I have college and pro football season discounted packages, even a combo package. It's the steal of the year. Guys, these will pay for itself in no time. If you give me just 1% of your trust, I promise you I will earn the other 99%. And by the time this season ends, you will name your next born after me. Even if it's a girl, go to Pick Dogs, get on one of my football discounted packages, ensure yourself a winning season. But for the immediate future, guys, come tomorrow afternoon. That's Thursday afternoon. I'm going to have college and pro football pick packages up for games from Thursday through Monday night over at Pick Dogs, so you can ensure yourself you will kick off this football campaign on a high note and put money in your pocket in week 1. Go to Pick Dogs. Get either a short-term or a long-term package in football. I promise you, you give me 1% of that trust, I'll earn the other 99%.
All right, guys, check out Joe D'Amico over at Pick Dogs. Pick up his package, his NBA play going on right now at the website. All right, we'll continue here on the drive-thru. A lot more free picks coming up from the Pick Dog Cappers. But Joe, I wanted to get back to with you here. We want to discuss. I know you're really close with the Vegas bookmakers in the community there. There's some wise guy money. What games are coming in? What are they putting their money on this weekend in the NFL?
Tony, I'm glad you asked me that. I want to differentiate a few things. There are certain people out there that are known as wise guys and sharps. I talk to all of them. I know them. I always want to keep whatever. I have my finger up close to whatever happens in sports betting because it affects me and it affects the people that follow me. There are certain guys that bet games, certain crews that bet games to make money. There are certain crews out there. Listen, we could talk turkey, guys. There's certain crews out there that might be hedging for bookmakers across the country. They'll bet a game because they're hedging bets. There are certain guys out there that like the middle games. They like the middle, the point sports, the footballs and the basketball. They'll bet one side. The general public thinks that the wise guys know something that they don't. They'll jump on it. They'll move the line a couple points. Then they'll bet the other side, look the middle of the game. Right now, I want to tell you that I spoke to 7 or 8 sets of wise guy crews today, the last few hours. There's several games in college football this weekend. They will be putting their money on. They have put their money on little bit. They're going to be pounding before Saturday. Appalachian State, there is a consensus. 3 or 4 or 5 of the crews like them. Coastal Carolina, plus the touchdown. Make sure you get that touchdown. Here's something interesting. The Western Kentucky-Louisville game. I know 3 crews that are moving on Western Kentucky, 1 that's moving on Louisville. Obviously, a fan favorite, too. I know Dana loves this game because he always loves this team. Notre Dame, they are moving on Notre Dame. They're going to look to move this game up to probably a 21. So if you like the Notre Dame game, play it now because if it goes to 21, then a 21.5, they'll buy it back. They love Louisiana Monroe. At least 5 of the crews love Louisiana Monroe plus the 20. And I got to tell you something. I'm getting a lot of talk about UTSA getting a little bit better than about a touchdown or even a little bit better. That game goes to 7.5. You're going to see that come right back down to a 7 and maybe even a 6.5 because they love UTSA this week. I talked to 7 or 8 different wise guy crews, but those are the consensus in college football as of right now, Wednesday afternoon at 3:30 in the afternoon.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico. We'll get to the NFL a little later with Joe here as we find out the wise guy moves here in this week in college football and the NFL. All right, drive through. Dana, I want to get your thoughts here. When you, of course, in Vegas, you hear this all the time. Wise guys, where the wise guy, where the sharp money's coming in, where the square money's coming in. You know, you hear that thrown away. But does it really matter to you where the money's coming in? It only matters who Dana likes. It
makes no difference whatsoever, Tony. I mean, honestly, the term, Joe will tell you, the term wise guy in squares has been around forever. But honestly, with the addition of Twitter and the internet, nobody knows something more than somebody else. I mean, there was guys that, I got guys that are sports writers that, are in and out of locker rooms, and I respectfully get some information from them. I don't, dig because it's more about our friendship than it is trying to get info, but we talk about things. But the fact of the matter is we all have access to everything that everybody else has. And so the difference between, back in the days where, there would be guys that were, they would wait to get newspapers off of airlines that would come in from other towns so they could read the local columnists and what they thought about, particular game, because we couldn't go online to get that information at the time. So those are the type of things that probably the insiders or the wise guys got as far as that label put on them. But honestly, I don't look at anybody's move, because the fact of the matter is, in a way that I'm not trying to make it sound any more than what it is, I trust myself. I trust the work that I put into the games, and I'm not really going to lean on anybody else and anybody else's opinion because of that. And that's not a disrespect to anybody else. That's just a respect to how much I put behind the games.
All right, that's Dana Lane. Joined here with Joe Meikle here on the drive-thru. More free picks coming from our Pick Dog handicappers as we take you to the top of the hour when the games begin. Well, let's continue here with the picks, and welcome to the show, Rod Zawacki. Rod, how you doing? Of course, I just want, before we get into the conversation here, we all hear the same news here about wise guy money, where the money's coming in. How do you factor that in your handicapping, or if at all? I think we lost your sound there, Rod. You might be muted there. There you go.
There we go. Sorry, my bad. For me, you gotta trust your own handicap on the game, your own numbers and your own systems with the game. I take a little bit. I look at where all the money is on the game. Like if you're looking at like all 95% on one side, that's kind of scary. I like to be on your own little island type thing. As we've said before, them fountains out front Vegas definitely didn't pay for themselves.
That's absolutely, it didn't. All right, here with Rod Zawacki here on the drive-thru. We got a pick. You're going to be coming in with a game here from the AL West, as we've got Houston at Oakland. We got a prospect, Garcia, going on the hill here for Houston against Luzardo, another prospect who's shown well in limited time here. But we got a huge line here. Oakland laying $1.70. Total sits here at 8.5 or 9. It's split in different places.
For me in this game, Garcia, he did a little bit of relief work, pitched 4 innings, gave out 1 run over those 4 innings. Not bad. Yeah, so he's going to get the start here today. I see him probably going maybe 3 innings. They hope probably to get 3-4 innings out of him. And Luzardo, 2-2 on the year, 4.23 ERA. Is he really worth that kind of money? You really want to lay minus? It's down in some places minus 160, 170 on Luzardo. I sure don't. For me in this one, I'm gonna take a shot with Houston here. Houston's 11-3 during Game 4 of the series. Houston is 45-15 in the last 60 games versus a left-hander. And another one that just pushed me over the edge was Houston's 93-44 the last 137 games following a straight-up win. So give me Houston as an underdog here to beat Oakland here tonight.
All right, Rod Zawacki, you can hear him on the morning show every morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 10:30 Eastern time here on the Pick Dogs at Sports Chat Place YouTube channel. He's coming in with a big underdog here with the Houston Astros. Dana, looking at this game, Luzardo a little roughed up in the last couple starts, and this Luis Garcia in the minors, pretty high strikeout rate last year, almost combined in AA, AAA for 37%. So we missed a lot of bats.
Yeah, I was looking at I was trying to find his minor league numbers, and I didn't see AAA numbers, and the only thing I was able to see was high ball, low ball, A level, and so I was kind of thinking, wow, this is a really big jump for him I mean, it's a lot different going from Quad City in the Midwest League to a middle of the pennant race. And, we see a lot of kids, jump into, the major leagues and get some at-bats and get some starts this year. But usually it's not in a game that means as much as this one means. So I apologize if those numbers are out there. I kind of was like, where are those numbers? But regardless, this is a big jump as far as I'm concerned for him to make his first start. This is also an opportunity for the Oakland A's to really put the death knell to the Houston Astros if they win this game. So I'm not only going to take Oakland in this, or lean towards Oakland at least, but I'm willing to give up the -0.5 so we can get a plus $1.10. And if I could as well, Tony, I just wanted to add 2 more points to our previous. It's a fascinating conversation. But I just wanted to add as well, if you're looking at where money is going when you wager on games, or if it's factoring into your wager, handicap the game first before you look at where the money is, because you don't want that bouncing around in your head and to cloud your judgment as you're handicapping the game. That's why I always say go to Disneyland first before you go to Disney World, so Disneyland doesn't disappoint you. Handicap the game first, and then look and see where the money goes. And then maybe that's to solidify what you think if you want to go against that. And the second point about that is, the reason why I don't really look, and again, I do respect people's opinions for sure. There's a lot of people, everybody on this panel I respect. But at the same time, if there's money moving a line 1 or 2 points, I'm really not trying to get involved in a game where I think I'm going to win by 1 or 2. I'm looking to get involved with a game I can win by 7 to 10. So line movement to me really has very little to do with which way I go.
All right, here joined on the drive-thru, Tony T. We're at the bottom of the hour, and we're going to get a lot more free picks. Rod, I have a lot of respect for you in your opinion in NHL. I know you came in strong with Tampa Bay, but we saw the line creep up a little bit here with Tampa in game number 2, $1.75 in some places is high, and $1.65 low number there. And of course, as we talked about a couple days ago, we saw the total creep up to about 5.5. But I'm seeing some 5 with heavy juice here in this game too.
For me, and I don't think we're going to see as many goals as we did in game 1. I would lean more to the under again. This Tampa defense is just unreal. They're just completely shutting teams down. And then you got Varlovsky in net too. Just a beast. Islanders are going to be tough to even win a game this series, I think. Number went up. Everybody's jumping on Tampa and realizing they're that good.
All right, Rod Zawacki here on the drive-thru. Rod, you're having a fantastic year in Major League Baseball, documented over at Pick Dogs, nearly 500 units of profit return. What do you have going right now at the site?
I got a play there tonight. It's 3 MLB games, 2 NBA, and the 1 hockey going. You can pick them all up in one package.
Absolutely, guys. So check out Rod Zawacki over at Pick Dogs. Pick up his package. You can see the results there. They're documented. A big winner this season in Major League Baseball. Rod, it's always great having your show. We'll listen for you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You're joined by Mitch and the crew on the morning show. And have a good night, and we'll listen to you in the morning.
Great to be here. Everybody have themselves a good evening.
All right, back here. Thanks a lot to Rod. Back here with Dana and Joe. Dana, I'd like to get your thoughts here on the Vegas Golden Knights last night able to even up that series.
And like I said, game 2. We're going to apply it to this Islander game 2. A much different team. They were much more focused. Reeves was back on the ice. When Reeves is there, they're a completely different team. There is an absolute confidence from a physical level that none of their top guys are going to get harassed or any funny stuff is going to happen. And that's what's so great about hockey. Every team that's worth their salt has a guy that's kind of the enforcer, and having Reeves back in the lineup was a completely different team. And I'm not saying that he was the reason why, but certainly a major part in the Golden Knights' success. And I remember when the Knights picked them up, they were kind of at a spot, although winning games, teams were starting to figure them out and starting to beat them up a little bit. I specifically know before the trade, the game against Anaheim, where they were just, kind of beaten up physically all over the ice. And, when William Carrier was your tough guy. You got to go out and get a real enforcer. And from that point on, that's when this team really took off. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen in Game 3. I thought everybody was better. The pace of play was better. They didn't have the pucks on their sticks too much. They were getting it to the right spots on the ice. A lot more open ice in the neutral zone, which is huge for Vegas. But the Knights, I think, are definitely the better of the two teams. There was nothing in Game 2 to change my mind about that.
All right, Joe D'Amico, Knights versus Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders now in town. They're going to start. They're going to start their. So there's, the Raiders got their work cut out for them. We're seeing how the Golden Knights are doing. Now the Raiders, there's a lot of talk about Gruden and the Raiders. This is third year. There's a lot of hype coming in this season. What's the expectation level up there now in Las Vegas with the Raiders? Now that we're seeing the Golden Knights with that high bar, can the Raiders at least creep up a little bit?
Honestly, in all sincerity, I'm always going to root for my hometown teams. I don't expect too much from the Raiders. I don't expect too much from John Gruden. I'm not a big John Gruden fan. I never have been. I think he inherited his Super Bowl team, and to be honest with you, he was out of coaching for a decade before they brought him in here. He's a high name. They gave him $100 million. I wish them well. I think that living in Las Vegas, listen to me. If a Golden Knight stubs his toe, we hear about it 14 times in the next day. If a Raider does something, we get inundated with Knight and Golden and Raider stuff because we're local. But I come from New York, all right? We had a big high school sports page in the Post, the Times, the News. We had the Newsday. We had all these high school things that covered high school stuff. And I'll be honest with you, living here, I get it. We're new to sports. I want to root for these teams. I don't expect a lot from the Raiders. I think at best they'll be a 500 team. I hope I'm wrong. I want to root for them. But I will tell you this, you're going to see money coming in on them because you're going to have people from here in town betting in the sportsbooks. You're also going to have a lot of people coming from that area in California coming here and betting them. And I'll tell you what, a lot of these people have disposable income. You'll see that. You'll see these lines going up. I don't think they're that great of a team. I think they're a decent team, and I want to root for them. But I think that we are several years away before we're going to go buy some polish and some cloth to polish off a trophy.
All right, here on the drive-through, Tony T, joined by Danny Lane, Joe D'Amico, every Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Get you the picks ready for tonight's action. The picks continue here on the drive-through. We'll continue here, and we'll welcome to the show Chris Ruffalo. You hear him in the morning show with Mitch and Company, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, Chris, how you doing? You getting ready for another major sport about to start tomorrow with the NFL?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I played football in high school and college. I have an undying love for this sport, and I'm ready for the NFL to start up as well as another week of college football. It's it's like Christmas every week for me. I love it, so I'm ready.
I can just guess based on your intelligence level, you're an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Jeez.
From one to another.
What does that mean?
I played left tackle in high school, so.
No, I was a center, so.
Oh boy, that's the pressure spot right there. All right, here on the drive-through, joined by Chris Ruffalo. Now, Chris, we're switching divisions here. We're going Cubs Reds for you today.
Yeah, I'm trying to switch it up a little bit. I'm trying to keep everybody on their toes. But the reason I picked this one, I love this pitching matchup tonight. I think it's the best pitching matchup on the card. You got Trevor Bauer for the Reds, Yu Darvish for the Cubs. And I keep going back to it, but I think, and I don't know if anyone wants to argue with me on this, I think that the Reds have been the most disappointing team in the National League, and I could almost make a case for them to be the most disappointing team in the majors this season. I mean, what a lot of people had the Reds doing as far as, this being a team that's going to contend for the crown of the NL Central. This is a team that's going to be, the NL Central's best team for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And, they're coming and playing sub 500. They lose the games they're supposed to win. They sometimes win the games they're supposed to lose. It hasn't been working out. And Trevor Bauer, guy who says he wants to pitch every 4 days. I mean, he's starting to regress a little bit. This is a guy that gave up 2 runs across his first 4 starts of the year. Now he's given up 11 runs, 8 of them earned in his last 3 starts, including a 3-0 loss to the Cubs a couple starts ago. Opposing him in that 3-0 loss, though, Yu Darvish. And Yu Darvish, he's pitched himself to be the front runner for the Cy Young right now. 1.44 ERA. I don't know what else I can say. We've called him Yu Garbage on the morning show before. We can't call him that anymore. I'll tell you that much. I mean, he's pitching out of his mind right now. I think that the best play here for me is to go with the Cubs on the run line. To get the wager down from about $1.50. I'm seeing it at plus 140 in certain places, but I'm also going to go to the under here as well, under 6.5. That is a low total, but both of these teams are last in the league in terms of their batting averages. Chicago's last in the league batting at home, and Cincinnati's bottoms in the majors in terms of batting average on the road this season. I think a lot of bats are going to get missed today. I like the under, and I like the Cubs on the run line.
All right, we got that there from Chris Ruffalo looking at the Cubs run line and the under in this one. Dana looking at this Cincinnati Reds team. I'm with Chris. I was very disappointed with these Reds, but it's their lineup. Looking at their past 7 days, hitting just 180.
I mean, he hit it right on the head. I mean, there was no team that had more hype around them going into the league or going into the season in the National League than the Cincinnati Reds. But, Joey Votto's been a disappointment. Jesse Winker's been okay. Mike Moustakas has been a complete disappointment. I mean, that lineup outside of those guys that you would lean on is just not. I mean, when you want to compare it to other teams like the Dodgers that, you definitely know are going to be in contention, there is no contention. I think sometimes we fall in love with certain teams just because of potential and not what they've done. And I think, outside of Joey Votto and probably Moustakas, I mean, there was a lot of guys on there that kind of proved themselves. And, I love this Trevor Bauer. I mean, if you guys haven't followed him on Twitter, I mean, he is a fantastic follow. I mean, he tells it like it is and how he feels. And you may or may not agree with him all the time, but he's a great follow. But unfortunately, if he was a 18-game winner or 20-game winner in a normal year, I mean, he'd probably be one of the guys in Major League Baseball that they'd be putting out there as a face of the game. I guess if the relationship between him and the league were better. But the Reds have dropped 2 in a row. They were shut out for the 6th time on Monday. 210 batting average, ranks last in the majors. You guys covered that, and honestly, it's a no play for me because if you could easily say the Cubs. But then in the back of my head, I could say, well, you know what? Bauer's going to throw 7 innings, give up a run, and it's going to be all said and done, and Darvish could regress. I love this matchup, but I don't have a real strong feeling towards either one of these teams.
Now, Chris, you said under in this game. Do you look at first 5 to try to keep these bullpens out of it?
I think that's always an option. I do that more, I'd say, for the Phillies and the Rockies, because we all know, unless you're trying to play the over in the full 9, but I try to keep first 5. Not necessarily, it's not my top play, but if I see something there, I'll play it. But like I said, if you're giving me a Phillies or a Rockies game, no, I'm taking the over in that all day until we get to the bullpens early.
That's right. All right, Chris Ruffalo here joined us here on the Drive Thru. Chris, I'm looking at the numbers here. Fantastic results. Major League Baseball, over 800 units of profit. Overall, I should say, your overall numbers are fantastic at Pick Dogs. What do you have going on tonight?
Well, my daily package just went off at the bottom of the hour, but I do have a Wednesday night cap 4-pack. I got a couple of MLB in there, as well as the Clippers game tonight at 9:00, and the Vegas, sorry, not the Vegas, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Islanders game going off at 8.
All right, Chris, as always, great to have you on your show. Good luck with your plays tonight, and check them out over at Pig Dogs. And, of course, listen to them tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with Mitch and the crew with the morning show. Chris, have a great evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Our buddy Chris Ruffalo here on the Drive Thru. Let's get over to Joe here. Of course, a comment here. David C. agrees with you. Raiders should disappoint like usual, says David C. on the comments here on the live chat during our show. And I will get to more of the comments here as we move forward from our listening audience out there. And of Joe, we talked about the college football wise guy plays. What's moving in the NFL?
Well, I want to say that, in 30 years that I've been living in Vegas and gambling professionally, I've always made serious money, and over the last 17 years that I've documented, my win-loss record is basically unrivaled. And I want to say that I agree with Dana. I don't put stock in what other people do. It's always about me. But what I do want to I want people to understand is if you knew a stock on a stock market was going to soar or was going to plummet, that's valuable information. And at the beginning of the week, when I speak to some of these wise guy crews and I find out who they're going to be playing, if I could predict a line movement of several points or a total of 4 or 5 points, I find that to be very valuable information. If I like a side that I know they're going to be playing, I'll put it out early. If I like against it, I'll put it out late. I'll always get that few extra points in my favor, which has helped me a lot over the years with my win-loss percentage. And I'll be honest with you, we have lost or won more games by a half a point than we care to admit. So that half a point is always very important. I think every point in a game is very important. So I do put stock into where I know the lines are going to move, because if I like that game, I'm going to put it out earlier. If I like against that game, I will put it out as late as I possibly can, so I can give myself and the people that follow me the biggest advantage possible. Remember, winning and losing is about a half a point. If we knew every game we're going to win by 35 points, it would take the fun out of this. Trust me. I do want to say that there's a few games on Sunday that I know that they're moving on.
Hey, Joe, I got to stop you for one second. We need to educate the public on something, and this is a very important thing that we want to talk about. You said we know where the big money's coming. It's very important. The reason why the money's not put on these games this early is because the limits are low. So these crews are waiting to when the limits go up to fire in on these games, just so the public understands. They say, well, how do we know where the money is going to move? Well, there's some clues out there, but the fact is the limits are just too low to come and fire in on these games right now.
It's a very good point, Tony. You're right. And to be honest with you, it's a little too early. When you see the Sunday night, and you'll see this Sunday, when the Sunday night, when the lines officially come for the following week between college football and pro football, you'll see quite a few games move a lot. But then again, the general public will jump on. Normally most people, the general public, will move on games middle to later on the week, and most just before an hour before game time. That's really where you get most of your action. And I'll be honest with you, knowing where this money is going to go is valuable to me. Whatever somebody else does, more power to them. It works for them. I am happy for them. But it's made me extremely successful the last 30 years, and the proof is in the win-loss record. There are a couple of games on Sunday that I think I think that they're moving on. The consensus is the Ravens. Now, these are not guys that love to bet favorites, but they like the Ravens here. They like the Ravens. And from what I'm hearing in my other reports, I know a lot more people are going to be hitting this Ravens game because they feel this team is going to win by 14 to 17 points. So they like the Ravens. Here's a total that, not that it shocked me. I was looking at some other totals. This one really came out of the blue. I know they're going to be hitting the over in the Seahawks-Falcons game. They think it's going to be a lot of scoring. These are several of the crews. Here's something else. These are both around hot numbers, so it's very important. If you like these two dogs, I would play them a little bit earlier because I know that several of these crews are going to be playing the Bears. They're at a 3 now. I know several of these crews, I'll tell you what, 6 or 7 of these crews are going to be hitting the Rams against the Cowboys. Everybody feels the Cowboys are a little overvalued right now. That's what I'm hearing. I'm a Cowboy fan. I think Dane is a Cowboy fan too. I'd love to see them do well. But I know that a lot of these wise guy crews are coming in. They're taking the points on this hot number, on these threes of the Bears and the Rams. You see a 3.5, you're going to see it go right back to 3, might even to 2.5. So if you like the Bears and the Rams, play them now.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico here on the drive-through. Dana, when you handicap in NFL, you see a lot of line moves early in the week. How do you factor that into your handicapping? And obviously, if the move, if you know you like a team and it's going against you, sometimes you look to go heavier on that one.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, just to go off of what Joe said, I mean, I'm not downplaying, where the line is going to move, and nor do I feel like a half a point doesn't matter. But you put a value on all of your plays, at least I do, based on, my power rankings and, variables that you put into the game. So I'm not looking to be involved with a game that I think a team A is going to win by 7 and the line is 6.5. So that's what I mean by that. I'm looking for a little bit bigger edge versus trusting myself and what my numbers are versus what the real number is. And honestly, no matter what money comes in, they're never really going to move it that far in my direction that I'm going to get, I'm going to go the other side because it moved, 3 or 4 points. I'm looking for games that I feel like are like a 7 to 10 difference in what the number actually is. And that's why I don't put up 8 plays a game or 8 plays a day because, honestly, you don't find those. I like to pick and choose. I like to peck and, kind of feel good not only am I going to win the game, but I think it's when you win by 10, 15 points, I think it's very impressive to the people that follow you. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not, not saying it doesn't matter where the line moves. Of course, you want to get the best of the number. I just want to be involved in games that are not close to what I think the number is going to be.
All right, it's Dana Lane here on the drive-thru with Joe D'Amico, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. More free picks coming. Got another Pick Dogs capper coming in. Let's welcome to the show El Nino, so you can find him over at Pick Dogs. El, how you doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. Everything's going well here. And, of course, you're going to be looking at an NBA game. And tonight we got the nightcap with the Clippers in Denver. Now, we've seen the line now with the Clippers now 7.5, total 221 in some places. We've seen this one at 8. And a bit of a line move down on this one, but the Clippers, to me, seems like a tough team to lay money to lay points with, because they just seem to turn it on at the end of the game, and like we saw in their victory in Game 3.
Yeah, Clippers definitely one of the best teams in the league. They had 2-1 lead in the series now after that win. Yeah, the better team in this series. They had the big blowout win in the series opener as well. But, the next two were much closer. Kawhi and George, definitely the two best players on the court. They have some great role players around them, too. But Murray, he was one of the hottest players in the playoffs, but did cool down a bit in this series. I guess that's what Beverly gets paid for, right? But anyways, Murray's coming off a pretty bad game, going just 5 of 17 from the field and scoring just 14 points. So I do expect him to bounce back a bit, have a better game than that. Good enough at least to help keep this one close. Denver's biggest advantage is at the center spot, though. Jokic, one of the best centers. He's not the most athletic one, but he can do pretty much everything else. And he also gives them the ability to play a 5-out and stretch the floor out, which is something the Clippers can't do with their two best centers. So that's a little advantage for Denver there. He's coming off a 32-point game, and I expect another big one out of him. And, I expect a good game here. I don't see a big blowout. I think Nuggets can keep this one in single digits, and I'm taking the points. I wish I could have given the 8, but it's down to 7.5. I wasn't trying to get a push anyway, so I'll definitely take the 7.5 and roll with that.
All right, El Nino says go ahead and take the points here with the Denver Nuggets. Dana, Denver, a team that's desperate right now. We've seen them fight back in their initial series against Utah, but here's a spot where they really want to avoid that 3-1 hole.
Yeah, this is not Utah. This is a completely different thing. And honestly, as the series goes on, if the Clippers win tonight, I think it's over, because I think as it goes on, you will start to see the difference between these two teams. And one of the things that I like to apply, and I know the Clippers have been a little bit inconsistent, but who finished this game strong, especially in games that were not close. I mean, does Team A finish strong? And if they do finish strong, not only do they get the win, but they go into the next game with a bunch of confidence. And I've talked about having a mental edge from one game to the next. But if you look at plus minus ratings, point differential, which isn't the end all be all for the postseason, but Denver's a plus 78 in postseason games, and despite the fact that the Nuggets are in this round against the Clippers, they're a minus 44 through 10 games. So that really tells me a lot about these two teams. And honestly, if like Al said, two best players on the court is George and Leonard. Those are two guys that the Nuggets cannot match up against. And as it goes on, if they win tonight, this series is over. There will be no comeback for them.
All right.
I agree. Yeah, Barton's definitely. This is where they would definitely need him to try to slow either George or Kawhi. They're definitely going to miss him in this series. But I still think they can keep it close. And as Dana was saying, they can't really afford to lose this one. If they do, it's pretty much over. So expect them to give it all they got throughout the whole game. And and 3-ball can definitely keep them in the game.
Right, and are you concerned at all with the depth with Denver here as now what is it that this will be now their 5th game in 10 days with the schedule? It's every other day, And at some point you got to think as the series goes deeper, a team coming off a 7-game series is going to really be, I think, at a rest disadvantage here as you get deeper in the series.
I know Murray grew up to be pushed pretty hard, so I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. It's a pretty good team. I don't think they're the team like I worry the most about with fatigue. Definitely think, this game I do expect a full effort out of them. I don't see fatigue being a problem in this one, no.
All right, here on the drive-thru, joined by El Ninos and company here on our show. El, I know you've got something brewing over at Pig Dog. Why don't you let everybody know what's happening up there?
Yeah, I got my favorite hockey player of the year up tonight, and still got an NBA game. It's actually, my premium play just tipped off, but we still got this one later tonight. And got my NBA play ready for tomorrow as well. And as I said yesterday, going to look at these baseball games as soon as we're done.
All right, Al, as always, good luck with your play tonight. Check them out over at Pig Dogs. Have a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks. You guys have a good one, too.
All right. El Ninos here on the drive-thru. I'd like to take a look at the game here, guys. It's Baltimore and the New York Mets, and it's Jorge Lopez on the hill for Baltimore going up against Rick Porcello for the New York Mets, and I almost fell out of my chair when I saw this line. The Mets laying $1.80, $1.85, total 9.5. Porcello on the mound here as a big favorite, Dana.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the plays I got up on the website, but honestly, Tony, I mean, I think this game is going to be a defining moment for the Mets. I mean, these are two teams going in opposite directions. The Orioles are trying to cling on to that last spot, or at least getting themselves in a position to get it. They're right there, and the Mets are right on their way out. So you got two teams passing each other in the night. Like I said, the play is up on the website, but it really comes down to, do you think, are the Mets, do they have what they had last year to kind of put themselves right back in position to make the postseason, or is this just not a Mets team that has that? And I think a lot of those questions will be answered tonight.
Yeah, they sure will. And, of course, the Orioles, again, coming in with 4 straight big win in the opener. And, look at the Porcello side. Teams are hitting .297 against him, 41% hard contact. His velocity is right at the 90-mile-per-hour rate there, which is just borderline Major League Baseball. Past 7 games, Baltimore Orioles are hitting. I think you have to look at their side here at the plus 168. All right, we'll continue here on the drive-thru. Tony T with Dana Lane and Joe D'Amico. And, of course, we're covering a wider range of sports here as we looked at the Clippers and Nuggets already. We got plays there from Al looking at the underdog. And, of course, Joe, what the Major League Baseball handling some of these underdogs this year? How's the public doing, favorite versus underdog?
I'll be honest with you. I myself have been surprised a few times this baseball season, the shortened season, especially in the first several weeks, and here and there, I'm still getting surprised. I go into these sports books over the last 2 months, and I see a lot of people that are looking surprised. So obviously the books are doing well. A lot of people in general are favorite bettors, and people, they don't, in general, are not looking for value. They see a team, oh God, Yankees, oh God, Astros, oh God, Dodgers. No matter what, you lay those big prices, you're going to eventually lose, because none of these teams are going to win 120 or 140 games this year. And even if they do, at $2 and $3 a game, at $2 and $3 a game, you're still not going to make too much money. You might even be losing money. So I know for a fact, I spoke to 2 of the sportsbook directors over the Westgate and a buddy of mine over at the Orleans. One larger book and one very, very popular local book. And I will tell you, they're both very happy, the book directors, because they're making money.
All right, here on the drive-thru, we'll look at one game here, Angels and Rangers. This one to go off in about an hour or so. And, Julio Teheran is on the mound again against Cody, a prospect here for the Rangers. And it's about 110 on both sides. Total sits here at 9.5 runs here. But Teheran has kind of had a struggle this year.
Yeah, I mean, if I could just kind of add to what you had said before, because I think it's very important. I have the exact numbers for Major League Baseball as far as favorites and home favorites. And I'll just throw out a couple that home favorites in Major League Baseball have won 62% of the time. Away favorites just over 60% of the time. Favorites in general, obviously around that 61% mark. And as far as totals are concerned, 55, and let me just get this correct. 51% of the games have gone under the total this season. So you kind of got that as well. But to Joe's point, you sit there and say, well, 61% of the favorites have won. Well, that's great. But if you lose a $2 favorite, which we know has happened more times than I can count, because either I've been on the other side of that, you can hit 60%, Joe, right, and still lose money. I know it sounds great, but even at 60%, you really have to be in a position in your bankroll. You have to build it up where you're in a position, if you want to lay $1.60 or $1.70 on a game, go right ahead. But if you're just starting to build your bankroll, that's not really what you're looking to do. So those are the figures, and that tells the general public, well, 60% of the time that the favorites win, but that's not going to be how you're going to build a bankroll in the long term. And then just real quick on the Angels game, Kyle Cody's going to get the start. He's made 4 appearances this year. He's made 1 start. He's allowed 1 earned run in the 7 1/3. Missed 2018, 2019 with a Tommy John surgery. And, Teron, we talked about this before. I mean, he was great in Atlanta. I mean, really a guy that when I saw his name penciled in, he was really a go with pitcher if you were getting the right number. His ERA has ballooned up this year. He doesn't look right. He's not getting ahead in counts. He is coming off a real good performance against the Padres on the 2nd of September. But, this is just a guy that I can't rely on consistently. If I had to lean in this game, I would take the Angels. I would give the 1.5 and get the plus $1.35, mostly because these are 2 teams. Again, the Angels are still right in it. In their mind, they're still right in it. For Texas, we see them giving time to Anderson Tejada at shortstop, and obviously he's no Elvis Andrus, but they are in a mode, and you could tell teams are kind of in that, next year mode by who they're playing, especially defensively, and Texas is in that mode. So, the more inspired of the 2 teams are certainly the Angels, and that would be the side I would be on if I had it on the site.
All right, that's Dana Lane here on the drive-thru with Joe Miko and Tony T, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Now it's time for my free pick. We're going to look here at the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. We're going to go under a total of 9 runs. Clayton Kershaw on the hill, 4 road starts. He's been solid, .70 ERA, a whip of .58. And we know the Diamondbacks lineup can't hit lefties. Let's hope he gets in the lead here so we get the better bullpen guys in for the Dodgers. Taylor Clark's been no joke at home. ERA of 2, whip of .88 for the Diamondbacks in the starter day. So we're going to look here at the under here with the LA Dodgers and Arizona Diamondbacks. Dan, as you look at this game with Kershaw on the hill for LA.
Yeah, boy, there's only one matchup in baseball that makes me just nauseous because I'm always looking for that plus money, and that is this one because Los Angeles has Arizona's number. To your point and to your selection, I mean, Jock Peterson's going to be out of the lineup, so you're taking all those home runs. He's got 16 career dingers against Arizona. He's going to be out of the lineup as well, which is going to help you. But, boy, I mean, even if you want to get that plus 1.5, plus 150, which really is a direction I want to go in, and this, when I take a step back and say, this is just a team that Arizona cannot beat. We got lucky with the 1.5 last night on a personal play. But outside of that, man, I mean, you only go to the well, once or twice before you just kind of stay away. And that's where I am in this one.
Yeah, Denson made it interesting last night, and that extra is in the bottom. But the Dodgers fought back to get that win. All right, this is the drive-thru. I'm Tony T, joined by Dane Lane and Joe D'Amico. Reminder here, tomorrow we'll be back at it again at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have Mitch on the show with all our guests, and Dana will join me as well. And I'd like to say goodbye to everyone for tonight. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Good night, guys. Good luck. Have a winning day.